Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we have a fascinating story to share about a coin that might be more valuable than you ever imagined. The United States 1-cent coin from 1983. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny from 1983? How could that possibly be worth anything significant? Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be shocked by how much this small, seemingly ordinary coin can fetch in the right condition. Trust me, you'll want to hear all the details, especially if you're a passionate coin collector or even just a casual enthusiast. Let's start with the basics. The 1983 1-cent coin was minted during a unique period in American history. The early 1980s were a time of change, with the economy fluctuating, and the country facing inflationary pressures. To make up for rising metal costs, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a zinc core with a copper coating for the penny, which made these coins lighter and cheaper to produce than before. But what makes this particular penny so special? Why should you even pay attention to a coin that most people would consider junk? The answer lies in its rarity, condition, and some very specific minting errors that make the 1983 penny one of the most sought-after coins among collectors today. Here's the deal: most of the 1983 pennies were mass-produced, and they've circulated widely over the years, meaning the vast majority are far from being in pristine condition. However, just like with other coins, the ones that have survived in excellent, uncirculated condition are extremely valuable. It's that perfect penny, one that looks as though it just came out of the mint, that is most coveted by collectors. But that's not all. There's a little-known twist to the 1983 1-cent coin that makes it even more exciting for collectors. Some of these pennies have rare minting errors that dramatically increase their value. One of the most common and highly prized errors is the D/D mintmark variety. This error happened when the U.S. Mint mistakenly struck the letter D, which stands for Denver, where the coin was minted, over another D. This creates a double mintmark effect that collectors find incredibly appealing. A coin like this, with a clear D/D error, could be worth significantly more than a regular 1983 penny, but that's not the only error to look for. There are also coins with off-center strikes, where the penny was not properly aligned during the minting process. These off-center coins can be strikingly unique and have a one-of-a-kind look, making them highly desirable. It's these kinds of quirks and mistakes that turn an otherwise common penny into a rare and valuable piece of history. Now, we know that condition is key. If you happen to stumble upon a 1983 penny that has been carefully preserved or one with an error, you may have more than just a simple piece of currency. You could be holding on to a valuable collector's item. Coins that show little to no signs of wear, with sharp details and a bright finish, are incredibly valuable. However, even with wear, the value of a 1983 penny can still increase if it has an error or unusual characteristic. So, how much could this penny actually be worth? Well, if you have a 1983 penny in mint condition, or better yet, one with a rare error like the D/D mintmark or an off-center strike, you could be looking at a substantial amount of money. And for the most pristine examples or those with extremely rare errors, it's not out of the question that you could see values as high as $50,000. Yes, you heard that right, $50,000 for a single 1983 penny. It's unbelievable, right? A coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance could hold such value. So, before you toss those old pennies into a jar or let them sit in your pocket unnoticed, take a closer look. You just might be holding on to a small fortune. If you're a coin collector, this is the kind of find that could take your collection to the next level. Even if you're just starting out, knowing which pennies to look for can make all the difference. So, next time you go through your spare change or pick up a handful of pennies, keep your eyes peeled for a 1983 coin with an error. You never know, this little penny could be your ticket to a big payday. Top 2. We're diving into a coin that many people overlook but could be sitting on a small fortune. The 1988 United States 1-cent coin. You might be wondering, a penny from 1988? What's so special about that? Well, let me tell you, this particular coin holds more value than you might expect. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why it's a must-know for any serious coin collector or even casual enthusiasts who are out there searching for valuable coins. Let's take a step back and talk about the history of the 1988 penny. By the late 1980s, the U.S. Mint had already been minting pennies for over 100 years, and the design of the Lincoln cent had become iconic. The 1988 penny, just like many other years of the Lincoln cent series, was produced in large quantities. So, at first glance, it might seem like just another everyday coin, but trust me, there's much more to it. You see, while the 1988 penny was mass-produced, the real value in these coins comes from a few rare characteristics that can make them incredibly sought after by collectors. The first thing you need to know is that not all 1988 pennies are worth money. It's the condition and any potential mint errors that can increase their value significantly. In other words, the key to finding value in these pennies lies in their rarity, which comes from a combination of preservation and minting mistakes that happened during the production process. Now, let's talk about rarity. As you probably know, the U.S. Mint produces millions of pennies every year, so it's not uncommon to find a 1988 penny floating around. However, the coins that were not heavily circulated or those that have been preserved in mint condition are where the real money lies. You see, most pennies from 1988 have been used, worn down, and are not in the best shape. But every once in a while, you'll come across a penny that looks like it just came off the minting press: sharp details, bright luster, and virtually no signs of wear. These coins are the ones collectors crave, and their value skyrockets when they're in excellent condition, but that's not all. The 1988 penny has a few minting errors that can make it even more valuable. One of the most famous errors is the double die obverse. This happens when the die used to strike the coin doesn't properly align during the minting process, causing a doubling effect on the design, particularly on the date or the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." This type of error is highly sought after by collectors, because it makes the coin unique, essentially a one-of-a-kind treasure. If you happen to find a 1988 penny with this error, it could be worth significantly more than a standard penny. Another rare mint error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the penny isn't properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. These coins have a distinctive, quirky look that collectors love. Just like with other error coins, off-center pennies are highly collectible because they are not the result of normal production, making them unique and desirable for coin lovers around the world. Now, here's the exciting part. If you happen to have a 1988 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition or one with a rare mint error like the double die obverse or off-center strike, you could be looking at a huge payday. While most 1988 pennies may only be worth face value, the ones with errors or in exceptional condition can fetch a much higher price in the market. And here's the big reveal: if you own a 1988 penny that is both in mint condition and has one of these rare errors, it could be worth an astonishing $47,000. Yes, you heard that right, $47,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that such a small, everyday coin could hold so much value. That's why it's important to always take a second look at your pocket change, especially if you've got some old pennies lying around. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. So, if you happen to come across a 1988 penny that looks like it's in perfect condition, or if you find one with an error, make sure to hold on to it. You might just have a collector's dream on your hands, and you'll want to take good care of it. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, knowing what to look for can make all the difference in your collection. Top 3. We have an exciting treasure hunt that might just make you look at your pocket change a little differently. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from the year 2000, a penny that many people overlook, but which could actually be worth far more than its face value. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be surprised by just how much a 2000 penny could fetch. At first glance, you might think, it's just a penny from the year 2000. What makes that so special? Well, my friend, that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. On the surface, the 2000 penny might seem like just another run-of-the-mill coin, but if you dig a little deeper, you'll discover that this penny holds some significant value, especially when it comes to rare varieties and minting errors that have been known to make it worth a small fortune. The 2000 penny, like many coins from the turn of the millennium, was produced in large quantities. It was part of a regular minting run and was meant to serve as the standard 1-cent coin of the time. However, it was a year marked by some key changes in the coin world, and a few of these pennies have characteristics that can make them extraordinarily valuable to collectors. These small but mighty coins are far from ordinary when you know what to look for. Let's talk about rarity for a moment. While most 2000 pennies were mass-produced and are common to find in circulation, the real treasure lies in the coins that were struck with minting errors. If you happen to stumble upon one of these error coins, you might have something truly special in your hands. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 2000 penny with a close AM reverse. This error occurs on the reverse side of the coin, where the letters A and M in America are very close together. Normally, the A and M are spaced farther apart, but on the error coin, they are struck so closely that they almost appear to be touching. This small but significant difference is what makes the close AM penny a prized find among collectors. So, if you have a 2000 penny and notice that the A and M are unusually close, you may have stumbled upon a rare and valuable piece. Another error to watch out for is the double die variety. This is a mistake that happens during the minting process when the coin's die is struck multiple times, causing a doubled image on the design. In the case of the 2000 penny, this error can often be seen in the word Liberty or the date 2000 itself. If you find a penny with this noticeable doubling effect, it could be worth a lot more than just a few cents, but it's not just about errors. Some 2000 pennies, especially those that have been kept in perfect, uncirculated condition, are highly coveted by collectors because of their age and rarity. Coins that have been kept in excellent condition, without any signs of wear or damage, are in high demand. The better the condition, the higher the value. So, if you have a pristine 2000 penny, even without any errors, you could be looking at a nice bump in value compared to a worn-out version. Now, I can already hear you asking, what's the value of a 2000 penny with these errors or in pristine condition? Well, hold on to your seats because here comes the exciting part. If you have one of these error coins or a perfectly preserved 2000 penny, it could be worth a surprising $42,000. Yes, you heard that right, $42,000 for a single 2000 penny. It's truly incredible to think that something as small and common as a penny could hold such value. This just goes to show how much the world of coin collecting is filled with hidden treasures. So, before you toss those old pennies into a jar or let them sit around unnoticed, take a closer look. That one coin you thought was worthless could be your ticket to a life-changing discovery. For coin collectors out there, this is the kind of coin that can take your collection to the next level. It's also a reminder that coins are more than just currency, they're pieces of history, and with a little bit of knowledge and patience, you could find something extraordinary. Top 4, we're diving into something that may seem ordinary at first glance, but could actually be worth a small fortune: the United States 1-cent coin from 1991. Now, you might be thinking, a penny from 1991? How special could that be? Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at that old jar of coins you've been storing away in a completely different way. The 1991 penny might seem like just another penny. It's a small, copper-plated coin that many people toss into change jars or forget about after a quick purchase. But for those in the know, this penny could be a hidden treasure. While the US Mint produced millions of these pennies, it's the rare ones, those with special characteristics, minting errors, and perfect condition, that can make all the difference in determining the coin's value. Let's start by talking about the background of the 1991 penny. This was a time when the US economy was seeing steady growth. The coin itself features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which has graced the penny since 1909. But what really sets the 1991 penny apart from the others? Well, much like any coin from any given year, it all comes down to rarity and condition. The key here is that, while the 1991 penny was produced in large numbers, only a small fraction of them have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most pennies from that era have been through countless hands and spent years in circulation, leaving them worn and less desirable to collectors. But, if you manage to find a 1991 penny that looks like it just came from the mint, sharp details, a brilliant finish, and minimal wear, you could be holding on to something that's worth a lot more than 1 cent now. Let's talk about minting errors. This is where the excitement begins. Minting errors are what really make a coin rare and valuable. Even a small mistake in the production process can make a coin stand out from the rest and become a sought-after collector's item. For the 1991 penny, there are a few key errors that could make it worth thousands of dollars. One of the most notable errors on the 1991 penny is the double die error. This happens when the die that strikes the coin is misaligned, causing the image to be struck more than once. As a result, the design appears doubled, and you can see this most clearly on the word Liberty or the date itself. If you come across a 1991 penny with this error, you found a true gem. A double die error is one of the most valuable mistakes a coin can have, and it can dramatically increase the coin's worth. Another error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the penny isn't properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. Off-center pennies have a distinctive look, and collectors are always on the hunt for these quirky errors. If you happen to find a 1991 penny with an off-center strike, it could easily become a highlight of your collection, but it's not just about the errors. Condition plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. As I mentioned earlier, most 1991 pennies have been through years of circulation, which means they show signs of wear, scratches, and fading. However, if you find one that is in near mint or uncirculated condition, you found a treasure. A perfectly preserved 1991 penny, with sharp details and no visible damage, can fetch a premium in the market. So, how much is a 1991 penny worth? Well, let's get to the exciting part. If you have a 1991 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, you could be looking at an impressive sum. And if you're lucky enough to have one of those rare error coins that collectors crave, your 1991 penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $46,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $46,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something as small as a penny could have such a big price tag, but that's the magic of coin collecting. It's all about finding those rare coins that stand out, whether it's because of their condition, their unique characteristics, or those accidental minting errors that make them one of a kind. So, before you toss that 1991 penny into a jar or forget about it, take a moment to inspect it closely. You could be holding onto something far more valuable than you ever imagined. For all the collectors out there, this is a perfect example of why it's so important to pay attention to every coin you come across. You never know when you'll stumble upon a rare find. And if you're new to coin collecting, remember that the more you learn about the different types of errors and the various ways a coin can be valuable, the better equipped you'll be to spot a treasure when you find one. Top 5, and last coin, we're diving into a penny that might seem ordinary at first glance but could actually be worth a small fortune. That's right, we're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1993. So, before you toss that penny aside or add it to your spare change jar, you might want to take a closer look because this little coin could be worth far more than its face value. At first, the 1993 penny may seem like just another year in the long-running series of Lincoln cents, but what makes it special? Well, there's more to this coin than you might think. Produced in large quantities, most 1993 pennies were circulated heavily, which means they were used in day-to-day transactions and often wear down over time. But the real value of a 1993 penny lies in its rarity, condition, and, most importantly, minting errors. You see, while the 1993 penny was produced in the usual large numbers, there are a few specific features that can make it rare and highly valuable. Some of these features come from the way the coin was minted, and some are due to errors that happened during the production process. Collectors and enthusiasts alike are always on the lookout for these special coins, and if you happen to find one, you could be holding a real treasure. Let's start with the first key factor, condition. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition of the coin can make or break its value. Most 1993 pennies have been in circulation for years, leading to wear and tear that diminishes their appeal to collectors. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1993 penny in excellent, uncirculated condition, you've already got something special on your hands. These well-preserved coins, often with bright, sharp details and no visible damage, are much more valuable than the average penny. Now, let's talk about the minting errors. This is where things get really interesting. Minting errors happen when there's a mistake in the production process, and these errors can make a coin extremely rare and valuable. For the 1993 penny, there are a few key errors to look out for that could make it worth thousands of dollars. One of the most notable errors for the 1993 penny is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin becomes misaligned, causing a doubling effect on the design. If you take a close look at the 1993 penny and notice that the word Liberty or the date 1993 appears doubled, you may have found a rare double die coin. This error is highly sought after by collectors because it makes the coin unique and different from the rest, and these error coins can command a much higher price in the market. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the penny is not properly aligned in the press during minting, causing the design to be struck off-center. If you find a 1993 penny that looks like it's been struck at an angle or is missing parts of the design due to this off-center strike, it's a rare find. Off-center coins are often considered quirky and collectible, and they can be worth a lot more than a standard, well-worn penny, but it's not just about the errors and the condition of the coin. The rarity of the 1993 penny also depends on how many survived in great shape or with those special minting mistakes. The rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes in the eyes of collectors. And this is where things get even more exciting. So, how much is a 1993 penny really worth? While most 1993 pennies are only worth their face value of 1 cent, those that are in mint condition or have a rare minting error can be worth significantly more. And here's where the big surprise comes in. If you happen to own one of these rare 1993 pennies, particularly one with a minting error like the double die or off-center strike, it could be worth an astounding $44,000. Yes, you heard that right, $44,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that a small, seemingly ordinary penny from 1993 could have such a high value, but that's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about the year or the design, it's about the rarity, the condition, and those unique minting errors that make a coin stand out. So, the next time you come across a 1993 penny, make sure to take a close look before you discard it. You might just be holding onto a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. For those of you who are passionate about coin collecting, this is a perfect example of why it's so important to always keep an eye out for those special coins. A little knowledge and attention to detail can go a long way when it comes to building a valuable collection. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found this information helpful and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on a coin discovery. Happy hunting, and remember, sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones you least expect. See you in the next video.